I was in the garage, elbow deep in the guts of our broken lawnmower, when I heard Dana's voice drift down from the kitchen window above. Her tone was different, low, pleading, desperate in a way I'd never heard before. "I told you I'd get the money, Shane. Just wait." If I'd known the price of love was exactly $10,000, I would have asked for a discount. My wrench froze mid-turn. Shane. Her ex-boyfriend from college. The same loser who'd been calling our house for the past month under the pretense of catching up. The same guy Dana claimed was just going through a rough patch and needed someone to talk to. The same pathetic waste of space I'd specifically told her to stop contact with 3 weeks ago. "No, I can't just transfer it tonight. John checks the accounts." Her voice carried that whiny edge she got when she was lying. "I need more time to figure this out without him noticing. John checks the accounts." You're right, John checks the accounts, especially when his wife starts acting like she's hiding something. Which, apparently, she was. I set down my tools and crept closer to the window, staying in the shadows of our perfectly manicured suburban paradise. The Hendersons next door were probably watching from behind their curtains. They lived for this kind of drama. Mrs. Henderson had been giving me knowing looks for weeks now, the kind that said she'd seen Dana coming home late, seen her texting constantly, seen all the little signs that spelled out betrayal in suburban housewife Morse code. "I love you too," Dana whispered into the phone. "I'll figure something out. Maybe I can take a cash advance on the credit cards." Merciless. Menstrual, my credit cards, our credit cards. The ones I've been working 60-hour weeks to pay off after her last shopping spree. I've been married to Dana Walsh for 8 years. 8 years of watching her climb the corporate ladder at Midwest Insurance while I fixed everyone's computer problems and pretended not to notice how she looked at me like I was holding her back. 8 years of her complaints about our boring neighborhood, our small house, my limited ambitions. 8 years of being told I wasn't good enough, while I paid for her gym membership, her designer clothes, her girls' nights out that apparently weren't just with the girls. The phone call ended and I heard her heels clicking across our hardwood floors, the floors I'd refinished myself last summer, while she was at a work conference that I was now realizing probably wasn't about insurance at all. I stayed in the garage for another hour, letting my anger crystallize into something cold and sharp. When I finally went inside, Dana was in the living room, curled up on our couch like nothing had happened, scrolling through her phone with that secretive smile she'd been wearing lately. "How's the mower coming along?" she asked without looking up. "About as well as our marriage, apparently." She glanced at me then, and for just a second, I saw fear flicker across her face. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing, honey, just tired." I headed for the stairs. "I'm going to check our bank statements, then get some sleep." "John, wait." But I was already halfway up the stairs, pulling out my phone to log into our joint account. The account that had held $15,000 yesterday, and now showed a balance of $5,000. The account that showed a $10,000 withdrawal this afternoon, right around the time Dana would have been on her lunch break. I sat on our bed, the bed we'd picked out together when we still pretended to be happy, and stared at the numbers on my screen. $10,000. Gone. Transferred to an account I didn't recognize, but I was willing to bet belonged to Shane Morrison, the same Shane who dropped out of 3 different colleges, been fired from 6 different jobs, and was apparently now in the business of stealing other men's wives and their money. Dana appeared in the doorway, still holding her phone. "We need to talk." Merc, Shantz. I turned my screen toward her. "Want to explain this?" Shoulders. She had the decency to look ashamed, but only for about 2 seconds. Then her chin went up in that defiant way that meant she was about to justify the unjustifiable. Shane needed help. His landlord was going to evict him, and he didn't have anywhere else to turn. So you gave him our money, our mortgage payment, our grocery money. You gave it to your ex-boyfriend without asking me. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Dana? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like my wife is financially supporting another man, a man she's been sneaking around with for weeks. She sat down on the edge of the bed, suddenly looking smaller. "It's just temporary. He's going to pay it back as soon as he gets back on his feet." I almost laughed. Shane Morrison getting back on his feet was about as likely as me spontaneously growing wings and flying to work tomorrow. The guy was a professional failure, a human anchor who dragged down everyone stupid enough to throw him a rope. You know what the funny thing is? I said, standing up and walking to our dresser. You used to complain about me helping my brother when he was going through his divorce. Said I was too generous, too trusting. Said people needed to learn to stand on their own 2 feet. I pulled out a suitcase and started throwing clothes into it. What are you doing? Dana's voice went up an octave. Helping Shane learn to stand on his own 2 feet, and helping you learn what it feels like to support a loser without my safety net. John, please, it's not what you think. MX, it's exactly what I think. You're cheating on me, emotionally if not physically, and you're using our money to do it. I zipped up the suitcase and turned to face her. I'm going to stay at a motel tonight. Tomorrow, I'm changing the locks. LS. You can't just kick me out of my own house. Threatened. Watch me. The house is in my name, remember? You insisted on that because your credit was shot from your college spending sprees. I headed for the door, then paused. Oh, and Dana? Next time you want to help someone stand up, make sure you're not the one falling down. Israel. I left her sitting on our bed, staring after me with her mouth hanging open. As I drove away from our house, my house, I caught a glimpse of Mrs. Henderson peeking through her curtains. I gave her a little wave. By tomorrow morning, the whole neighborhood would know that the Walsh marriage had officially imploded. At the Comfort Inn on Highway 9, I sat in a generic room that smelled like industrial carpet cleaner and started making a list. I'd always been good at organizing, at breaking down complex problems into manageable steps. It's what made me good at my job, good at fixing things that seemed hopelessly broken. And Dana Walsh was about to find out just how good I was at taking things apart. The locksmith showed up at 7 a.m. sharp, just as I'd requested. I'd been watching the house from my rental car since 6:30, waiting to see if Dana had spent the night or if she'd already run to Shane's arms. Her car was still in the driveway, which meant she was inside, probably on the phone with her girlfriends, spinning some story about how I'd overreacted and didn't understand the situation. I understood the situation perfectly. My wife was a cheater and a thief, and I was done being understanding. The locksmith, a grizzled guy named Pete who looked like he'd seen every kind of domestic drama imaginable, worked quickly and efficiently. You want me to leave the old keys inside? He asked. That would be perfect. Mercedes pulled into the driveway. I watched from across the street as she tried her key in the front door, then tried it again, then started pounding on the wood. John, open this door right now. I rolled down my window and called out, Keys are on the kitchen counter, sweetheart, right next to the note I left you. She spun around, her face flushed with anger and embarrassment. Half the neighborhood was probably watching this little performance, and Dana hated being the center of negative attention almost as much as she hated not getting her way. You can't do this. This is illegal. Actually, it's completely legal. Check with your lawyer if you want. I started my engine. Oh, wait. You can't afford a lawyer anymore. You spent our legal fund on your boyfriend. She marched toward my car, her heels clicking angrily on the asphalt. For a second, I thought she might actually try to drag me out through the window. But she stopped just short of my door. Where am I supposed to go? I hear Shane's got a real nice place. Maybe you can help him with the rent. The look she gave me could have melted steel, but I just smiled and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I watched her storm back to the house, probably to break a window or call the police or both. Let her. I had copies of the bank statements, recordings of her phone conversations, thanks to the security system she'd insisted we install last year, and a paper trail that would make any divorce lawyer salivate. But I wasn't ready for lawyers yet. I was just getting started. My first stop was Frankie's Boxing Gym, a rundown place on the south side of town where I'd been working out since college. Frankie Torino was 65, built like a fire hydrant, and had been teaching guys like me how to channel their anger into something productive for 40 years. You look like heck, he said when I walked in. Feel like it too. I started wrapping my hands. Dana's been cheating on me. Figured that was coming. She always looked at you like you were something she stepped in. Frankie held up the heavy bag while I started throwing combinations. What are you going to do about it? Regret it. Good. Just don't do anything stupid that'll land you in jail. Revenge is a dish best served legal. I spent 2 hours beating the heck out of that heavy bag, working out 8 years of frustration and resentment. By the time I was done, I had a plan. Dana's best friend was Lisa Chen, a gossipy insurance adjuster who worked in the same office and knew everyone's business. Lisa had always been friendly to me, maybe a little too friendly, especially at office parties when she'd had a few drinks. More importantly, Lisa was the kind of person who couldn't keep a secret if her life depended on it. I found her at Murphy's Bar, the place where all the Midwest insurance employees went for happy hour. She was sitting alone at the bar, scrolling through her phone and nursing a Cosmopolitan. "Mind if I join you?" I asked, sliding onto the stool next to her. "John, what are you doing here?" She looked genuinely surprised, which meant Dana hadn't called her yet. Interesting. Needed a drink, rough day. I ordered a beer and turned to face her. Actually, rough week. Dana and I are having some problems. Lisa's eyes lit up with the unmistakable gleam of someone who'd just been handed premium gossip. "Oh no, what happened?" Racially, gave her the abbreviated version. Discovered Dana was giving money to her ex, felt betrayed, needed some space to think. I was careful to play the hurt husband rather than the angry one, and Lisa ate it up. "I can't believe she didn't tell me about Shane," Lisa said, which was a lie. She'd probably known about it from the beginning. I mean, I knew they'd been texting, but I thought it was just friendly stuff. "Texting?" I let my voice crack just a little. "How long has that been going on?" "Oh, honey." Lisa put her hand on my arm, and I could practically see the wheels turning in her head. She was calculating, trying to figure out how much to tell me and what she could get in return. "Maybe we should talk somewhere more private." We ended up in her car in the parking lot, where Lisa proceeded to spill everything she knew about Dana's affair. It had been going on for 2 months. Shane had been calling Dana at work, sending flowers to the office, even showing up for lunch dates. The whole office knew about it, but nobody wanted to be the one to tell me. "She said you guys were having problems anyway," Lisa said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Said you were holding her back, that she needed someone who understood her ambitions." "Shane understands her ambitions?" I couldn't help but laugh. "The guy who's been unemployed for 6 months? Well, he's got some business ideas. Dana thinks he just needs the right opportunity." "Right. The right opportunity to blow through my money and move on to the next sucker." "Lisa, can I ask you for a favor?" I turned on the charm, the same smile that had gotten Dana to go out with me in the first place. "I need to know what she's planning. I don't want to be blindsided by divorce papers or anything like that." "Cleanliness." Lisa practically purred. "Of course. We're friends, right? I'll keep you in the loop." I drove home, to my motel room, feeling like I'd just recruited my first spy. Lisa would feed me information, partly out of genuine concern, but mostly because she enjoyed being in the middle of the drama. And Dana, trusting and naive when it came to her friends, would tell Lisa everything. The next morning, I got my first intelligence report via text message. Dee spent night at Shane's parents' house. They live in Trailer Park on Elm Street. She's embarrassed but trying to make best of it. Says she loves him, and you never appreciated her anyway. Shane's parents' trailer. I've been wondering where he was staying after getting evicted from his apartment. A 40-year-old man living with his parents in a double-wide, and my wife thought this was a step up from our suburban life. I drove by the address Lisa had given me, a depressing collection of aging mobile homes surrounded by chain-link fences and dead grass. Shane's parents' place was easy to spot. It was the one with the broken-down Camaro in the front yard and the collection of empty beer cans decorating the porch. Dana's pristine Mercedes looked completely out of place parked next to a rusted pickup truck. I could only imagine what she was thinking, waking up in a space the size of our walk-in closet, sharing a bathroom with Shane's unemployed parents. But I wasn't done yet, not even close. That afternoon, I made a few phone calls. The first was to Dana's credit card company, reporting suspicious activity on our joint account. The second was to the bank, asking them to flag any large withdrawals for review. The third was to my buddy Mike, who worked at the DMV and owed me a favor from when I'd fixed his computer network. "I need you to run a plate for me," I said, "and maybe check if there are any outstanding warrants or unpaid tickets." Reynolds Shane's record was a goldmine of failure. 3 DUIs, unpaid parking tickets, a suspended license, and an outstanding warrant for failure to appear in court on a bad check charge. The guy was a walking disaster, and Dana had hitched her wagon to his falling star. My phone buzzed with another text from Lisa. Dee crying at work today. Says Shane's parents hate her and she doesn't know what to do. Boss asked her if everything was okay because she looks terrible. Whichever, Dana's carefully constructed professional image was starting to crack, and we were just getting started. I'd spent 8 years watching her climb the corporate ladder, networking and schmoozing and playing the game. Her reputation meant everything to her. Time to see how much it was really worth. By the end of the week, Dana looked like she'd aged 5 years. I knew this because Lisa was sending me daily photo updates along with her gossip reports. Dana's normally perfect hair was limp and unwashed, her designer clothes wrinkled, her makeup smeared from crying in the office bathroom. She asked me if she could borrow $500, Lisa texted me. Said Shane's parents are charging them rent, and she doesn't have access to her accounts. Lay's frozen our joint accounts pending the divorce proceedings. Perfectly legal, completely devastating. Dana was discovering what it felt like to live paycheck to paycheck, something she'd never experienced in her privileged life. But Shane was the real prize. According to Lisa, he was getting increasingly agitated about his money problems. The $10,000 Dana had given him was already gone, blown on gambling debts and back rent, and he was pressuring her for more. When she explained that I'd frozen the accounts, he'd thrown a tantrum that ended with a hole punched in his parents' trailer wall. She's scared of him, Lisa reported during one of our coffee meetings. He's got a drinking problem, and he gets mean when he's drunk. Last night he accused her of leading him on, said she promised him more money than she actually had. That's terrible, I said, trying to sound concerned instead of satisfied. Maybe she should come home. We could work things out. Lix shook her head. She's too proud. She keeps saying she made her choice and she's going to stick with it. But John, I'm worried about her. Shane's bad news. I was counting on it. That weekend, I decided to pay Shane a visit. I found him at Lucky's Casino, the kind of place that smelled like desperation and stale cigarettes. He was at a blackjack table, nursing a beer and losing what looked like his last $20. Shane Morrison? I sat down next to him, ignoring the dirty look from the dealer. He turned, and I got my first good look at Dana's great love. Unshaven, red-rimmed eyes, cheap clothes that had seen better days. This was the man my wife had chosen over me. You're Dana's husband. It wasn't a question. That's right, John Walsh. I signaled the waitress for a beer. I thought we should meet, considering you're sleeping with my wife and spending my money. Shane's face flushed red. Look, man, I didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. Oh, I'm not here to fight about it. Actually, I wanted to thank you. Thank me? Absolutely. You've done me a huge favor, taking Dana off my hands. She's expensive, high maintenance, never satisfied with what she has. I took a sip of my beer and watched his face. But I'm sure you've figured that out by now. Shane's expression shifted from defensive to uncertain. What do you mean? Come on, Shane. She's been with you for what, 2 weeks? And she's already complaining, right? About your living situation, your job prospects, your family. Dana's got champagne tastes and you've got a beer budget. How long do you think that's going to work? I could see the doubt creeping in. Shane might be a loser, but he wasn't stupid. He'd already seen Dana's reaction to his parents' trailer, her horror at his financial situation, her growing desperation as reality set in. She loves me, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. She loves the idea of you, the fantasy of running away with her college boyfriend, starting over, being spontaneous. I finished my beer and stood up. But Dana doesn't do reality very well. She's about to figure out that you can't pay for her lifestyle with good intentions and childhood memories. I left him sitting there, staring at his cards with a look of dawning comprehension. The seed of doubt was planted. Now I just had to wait for it to grow. Monday morning brought the news I'd been waiting for. Lisa called me at work, practically breathless with excitement. John, you're not going to believe this. Dana got fired. What? Why? She's been coming in late, leaving early, crying at her desk. Last week, She made a huge mistake on the Morrison account. Cost the company $20,000. And then this morning, her boss caught her using the office computer to look at apartments she can't afford. Perfect. Dana's professional reputation, the thing she'd valued more than our marriage, was in ruins. And the best part was, I hadn't had to do anything except let her self-destruct. She's devastated, Lisa continued. She's been with the company for 6 years. This was her career. Where is she now? Cleaning out her desk. Security's watching her pack up her stuff. It's so humiliating. I felt a moment of something that might have been sympathy, but it passed quickly. Dana had made her choice. She'd chosen Shane over me. Excitement over stability. Fantasy over reality. Now she was living with the consequences. That evening, I drove by the trailer park again. Dana's car wasn't there, but I could see Shane through the window, pacing back and forth while his father yelled at him. Even with the windows closed, I could hear the shouting. My phone rang. It was Dana. "John, please. I need to talk to you." Her voice was small, broken. Nothing like the confident woman who'd walked out on our marriage 2 weeks ago. "I'm listening. Can we meet somewhere? I made a mistake." "What kind of mistake?" "All of it. Shane, the money, leaving me. I've lived them to you. I can't be able to do. I'm so much like I come out on the video in the Corning job." "What kind of mistake?" "All of it. Shane, the money, leaving the Wimbos on father. I valuable you. I feel like the change then in the state of me. It's just a minute. I'm listening." "All of it. Shane, the money, leaving you. I was confused and I made terrible decisions and I'm sorry." I let the silence stretch out, listening to her breathing on the other end of the line. "Please, John, I lost my job today. I don't have anywhere else to turn." "What about Shane? I thought he was going to take care of you." Shane's not who I thought he was. He's angry all the time and he blames me for his problems. His parents hate me and I can't afford to get my own place without a job." "That sounds rough." I kept my voice neutral, professional. "But I'm not sure how that's my problem anymore." Imprisoned. "Because I'm your wife. Stopped being my wife the day you chose him over me. You made that very clear." She started crying then. Ugly sobs that should have made me feel guilty, but only made me feel vindicated. "I'll do anything, John. I'll pay back the money, I'll go to counseling, whatever you want. Just please don't abandon me." "The way you abandoned me? I know I hurt you, I know I was wrong. But we can fix this, can't we? We can go back to the way things were." Relinquix. I almost laughed. Go back? There was no going back from this. She'd shown me exactly who she was when things got difficult, and I'd never be able to trust her again. "Dana, I want you to listen to me very carefully. You made your choice. You chose Shane and his exciting, unpredictable life over our boring, stable marriage. You chose to steal our money and give it to another man. You chose to humiliate me in front of our friends and neighbors. Those were your choices, and now you get to live with them." "But I love you." "No, you don't. You love what I represented. Security, stability, someone to pay your bills and clean up your messes. But you don't love me. And honestly, I don't think I love you anymore either." Minimized. The line went quiet except for her crying. "I'm filing for divorce tomorrow," I continued. "You can contest it if you want, but I've got documentation of everything. The affair, the stolen money, all of it. Your best bet is to sign the papers and try to rebuild your life." "John, please." I hung up. 20 minutes later, Lisa called. "Dana just showed up at my apartment, crying hysterically. She says you won't take her back." "That's right. She's begging me to let her stay here, but John, I can't. My lease doesn't allow long-term guests, and honestly, she's kind of a mess right now." "That's not my problem anymore, Lisa. But she's my friend. I feel terrible for her. She should have thought about that before she decided to blow up her life for a loser." Lisa was quiet for a moment. "You know, I always thought you were too good for her. She never appreciated what she had." "Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate you keeping me informed about everything. Of course. We're friends. I sat in my motel room and tried to figure out how I felt. I'd expected to feel triumphant, vindicated, satisfied with my revenge. Instead, I felt empty. 8 years of marriage, reduced to a series of calculated moves designed to cause maximum damage. But Dana had started this war when she chose to betray me. I was just finishing it. 3 days later, Lisa called with the news that would set the final act in motion. Shane beat up some guy at a bar last night. He's in jail, and Dana spent her last $50 trying to bail him out. When that wasn't enough, she called his parents for help. Let me guess, they said no. Worse, they told her to pack her stuff and get out. Said they were done with both of them. Dana's been living in her car for 2 days. Live in her car. Dana Walsh, who wouldn't shop at Target because it was beneath her standards, was homeless. The woman who'd left me because I wasn't ambitious enough was sleeping in a Mercedes she couldn't afford to put gas in. There's more, Lisa continued. She asked me to call you. She wants to meet. What for? She says she has information you'd want to know. About Shane, about what really happened. She's desperate, John. I think she's finally ready to tell the truth about everything. I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Tell her I'll meet her tonight. The warehouse district, down by the river. There's an old building at the end of Morrison Street. Fitting, considering. Tell her to bring Shane if he makes bail. Why there? Because I want privacy for this conversation. And tell her to bring Lisa, too. All the players should be present for the final act. That evening, I arrived at the abandoned warehouse early. The building had been empty for 5 years, ever since the manufacturing company that owned it went bankrupt. It was perfect for what I had in mind. Isolated, private, and symbolic. This was where Dana's new life had led her, to a dead end in the worst part of town. I'd brought Frankie with me for backup, not because I expected violence, but because I wanted a witness to whatever was about to happen. You sure about this? Frankie asked as we waited in the shadows. I'm sure. It's time to end this properly. Pledged Dana arrived first, driving her Mercedes with a cracked windshield and a dented bumper. She looked terrible, thin, pale, wearing the same clothes I'd seen her in 3 days ago. Behind her came Shane in a beat-up pickup truck that belonged to someone else, probably a friend stupid enough to lend him money. Lisa pulled up last in her Honda, looking nervous and excited at the same time. They gathered in the middle of the empty warehouse floor, looking around uncertainly. I let them wait for a few minutes, let the anxiety build, before stepping out of the shadows. Hello, Dana, Shane, Lisa. Drawley rushed toward me, but I held up a hand to stop her. Stay where you are. You wanted to talk, so talk. John, I know you're angry, but you need to know the truth about what happened. I know the truth. You cheated on me and stole our money. That's not the whole truth. Dana glanced at Lisa, who was standing off to the side looking guilty. Tell him, Lisa. Tell him what you told me. Lisa shifted uncomfortably. I don't know what you mean. I've been feeding him information about me. Tell him how you've been playing both sides, pretending to be my friend while reporting everything back to him. Stimulate. I looked at Lisa, who had the decency to look ashamed. Is that true? She asked me to keep an eye on you, Lisa said defensively. She was worried about how you were handling the separation. BS, Shane spoke up for the first time. She's been working with you from the beginning. She's the one who encouraged Dana to give me the money in the first place. Said it would be romantic. Said you'd never find out. Now that was interesting. I turned to Lisa with raised eyebrows. Is that true, Lisa? Did you encourage Dana to steal from me? Melts. Dismissal's face went red. It wasn't stealing. It was her money, too. Pay. Would you do that? Unborn. The silence stretched out until Dana answered for her. Because she's been in love with you for years. She thought if she could break us up, she'd have a chance with you. At Lisa, pieces clicking into place. The friendly conversations, the eagerness to help, the detailed reports about Dana's suffering. Lisa had been playing a deeper game than I'd realized. You orchestrated this whole thing, I said slowly. You encouraged Dana to have the affair, then fed me information to help me destroy her. You were playing both sides. Lisa's composure cracked completely. You were wasted on her. She never appreciated you, never saw how good you were. I would have treated you right. So you decided to ruin my marriage to prove it. Gave you the tools to see who she really was. Everything I told you was true. She is selfish and shallow and wrong for you. I just helped you see it. I looked around at the three of them. My cheating wife, her loser boyfriend, and the friend who'd manipulated us all for her own twisted purposes. It was almost funny. You know what the really sad part is? I said. You're all exactly who I thought you were. Dana, you're selfish and weak, willing to throw away 8 years of marriage for a fantasy. Shane, you're a parasite who destroys everything you touch. And Lisa, you're a manipulative snake who pretends to be a friend while plotting to steal someone's husband. I pulled out my phone and showed them the screen. I've been recording this entire conversation. Every word, every confession, every pathetic attempt at justification. Their faces went white. And here's the beautiful part. I've been streaming it live to a private social media account. Dana's parents are watching. Her former coworkers are watching. Shane's parole officer is watching because, yes, I looked up his record and made some calls. Everyone who knows any of you is getting a front row seat to this little drama. Dana sank to her knees. John, no, please. You wanted the truth to come out, Dana. Well, here it is. The truth about your affair, your theft, your complete lack of character. The truth about Shane's criminal record and his history of using women. The truth about Lisa's sick obsession and manipulation. Dylan turned to walk away, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. Shane, that warrant for the bad check, I called it in. The police should be here any minute to arrest you. Dana, the divorce papers are being served tomorrow, along with a lawsuit for the money you stole. Lisa, I've already sent copies of tonight's recording to your boss at the insurance company. Something tells me they won't appreciate having an employee who manipulates clients and orchestrates fraud. Shane lunged at me then, but I swatted the shadows and caught him with a right cross that dropped him like a sack of cement. Stay down, Frankie advised, standing over Shane's groaning form. In the distance, I could hear sirens approaching. Right on schedule. The police are here for Shane, but I suggest the rest of you leave before they start asking questions about your involvement in his various schemes. Dana was sobbing now, great heaving sobs that echoed through the empty warehouse. I'm sorry, John. I'm so sorry. I know you are, Dana. You're sorry you got caught. Sorry you chose wrong. Sorry your life fell apart. But you're not sorry for what you did to me. You're just sorry it didn't work out the way you planned. The police cars pulled up outside, their red and blue lights flashing through the broken windows. You destroyed my life, Lisa said, her voice full of venom. No, Lisa. You destroyed your own life. You destroyed Dana's life. You tried to destroy mine. I just made sure everyone knew about it. Shane was trying to get up, red streaming from his nose. This isn't over. Yes, it is. It's completely over. The police entered the warehouse and I walked over to meet them. Officers, I'm John Walsh. I called in the warrant on Shane Morrison. He's right over there, the one with the busted nose. As they cuffed Shane and read him his rights, I walked past Dana one last time. She grabbed at my leg, trying to stop me. What am I supposed to do now? I have nothing left. I looked down at her. This woman I'd loved for 8 years. This woman who'd thrown away everything we'd built together for a few months of excitement with a loser. You're supposed to live with the consequences of your choices. Just like I had to live with the consequences of yours. I walked out of the warehouse and into the cool night air, leaving behind the wreckage of my marriage and the 3 people who'd conspired to destroy it. Frankie followed me to my car. Feel better? He asked. I feel finished. Finally finished. As we drove away, I could see Dana in my rearview mirror, still kneeling on the warehouse floor, surrounded by the ruins of her carefully constructed lies. Shane was being loaded into a police car. Lisa was standing alone by her Honda, probably calculating how much of her own life had just been destroyed by the recording I'd made. It was over. All of it. The marriage, the betrayal, the revenge. Finished. Tomorrow I'd start rebuilding my life, but tonight, I was content to watch the warehouse lights flicker in my mirror as I drove toward whatever came next. Justice, I'd learned, wasn't about forgiveness or moving on or being the bigger person. Sometimes justice was just making sure that people who chose to hurt you had to live with the full consequences of that choice. And sometimes that was enough.